Once upon a time in a beige land, not very far away, there lived a herd of dinosaurs who had forgotten how to roar. Well, they hadn't exactly forgotten, they'd just stopped. No one quite knew why they stopped. Some said it was because of an ancient Stegosaurus ruler with migraines who had forbidden noise and colour and dance. The land was ruled by a Stegosaurus royal family. The royals had beige markings on their bodies, bony spikes on their spines and tiny crowns on their heads. They asserted their authority by bluff and flocks of pterodactyl who hid behind the clouds and threw lightning bolts at anyone who dared to break their rules. In this land of beige silence, there lived a feisty dinosaur called Celosaurus rex. Celosaurus bulked at beige, and the older she got, the more she bulked. She didn't care about Stegosaurus power, and she was tired of the silence. On her 65th birthday, she announced to her family that she would be silent no more. It was her time to roar. And so Celosaurus began to roar. At first she roared in front of a bathroom mirror. Then she roared in a garden while she was drinking tea. She roared in the bank, in the supermarket,
Price check, aisle 3, price check.
the petrol station, and the hardware shop. Each time she roared, she grew louder and prouder. Also got brighter, starting with her legs, which changed from beige stripes to blue, pink and white. The roar was reported to the royal family, who sent a platoon of soldiers to restore silence. As the army approached her house, Celosaurus walked into the street, stood up on her back legs and roared as loudly as she could. As she let out her mighty sound, windows shattered, dogs howled, buildings crumbled, and the army fled. On that day, history was made. Within hours, the roar could be heard coming from houses in every street in the land. The sound was timid and without harmony at first, and then it became louder and prouder. As the roar grew, the sun appeared and dinosaurs began to dance in the streets, holding their smiling faces up to the sun. And so the land was once very silent, and beige is now very loud and joyous and bright. The Stegosaurus royal family watched carefully and began to appreciate the importance of colour and diversity. So much so that they appointed a Comissiosaurus to travel the land and promote dinosaur equality. The Comissiosaurus was given special powers and a cute little crown. Celosaurus joined Comissiosaurus, travelling from town to town with a troupe of musicians whose job it was to help dinosaurs find their musical key. They handed out campaign flags with messages like "J'adore le roar" and "Let's get loud and dinosaur proud." As they travelled, other dinosaurs began to join in, and some painted messages of support on their bony back spikes. One day, as they arrived in a small town, they were greeted by a shy young Triceratops called Jaxosaurus, who told them he wanted to find his roar. Jaxosaurus had travelled to meet them with his Mamasaurus, Papasaurus, and sisters Imisaurus and Chiasaurus. His family loved him dearly and knew that he would be stronger if he could find his roar.
Jaxosaurus was a special dinosaur with a smile that lit up the night sky. He was an artist, a dreamer, a surfer, and a skatey kid. He had a pet meerkat called Harley, and he dreamed of Dinoversity being able to roar. His bedroom walls were plastered with art about kindness for all dinosaurs. But sometimes Jaxosaurus lost his smile. Mostly this happened when He was at school and the Stegosaurus kids made fun of him because he didn't have beige spots or bony spikes on his back. Being teased made him feel sad. He knew that if he could roar, it wouldn't hurt him so much when they made fun of him. He knew the roar would be his superpower. Salosaurus worked with Jaxosaurus to find his roar. They practiced night and day till they were hoarse. The more they practiced, the louder they became, until one day their sound waves were so powerful that they bounced together and were transformed into beautiful prisms of colour that flew across the sky. It was his 12th birthday and Jaxosaurus had found his roar. To celebrate his birthday, Salosaurus organised a surprise party and chocolate cake with a spurting Lego volcano. Salosaurus made a speech saying, "Jax, you are such a cool kid, and when I hang out with you, I feel like a big kid. I feel like we are just two kids having fun, the fun I couldn't have when I was a kid." Then Jaxosaurus stood up and said, "You make me feel strong and confident, Salosaurus. I am so grateful to have such a caring dinosaur friends like you." Jaxosaurus and his friends ate and danced and roared.
And then there was a muffled noise, and a local politician called Diplodocus stood up and addressed the guests. He told them that the party had ended, but the fight goes on. It's important for everyone to listen to the roar, even if you don't know what it means, he stressed. Diplodocus promised he would use his influence to help other politicians understand the roar. He also invited everyone to join him for the first ever Dinoversity Parade. Jaxosaurus was so excited. He knew the parade would help more dinosaurs understand how the roar was so important to make sure all dinosaurs felt safe and happy.
And then, having the best party ever, Jaxosaurus decided his message needed to reach further than his family and friends. He made an appointment to meet with Jessiphus, the head of his school, to talk about embracing Dinoversity. The school was excited to learn more. They worked with Jaxosaurus on his very own Triceratops support plan and also a plan to make sure equality and kindness became part of the school's fabric. They printed Dinoversity stickers for the school doors that said, "All dinosaurs are welcome here." And Jessiphus wore a badge that said, "Team Jaxosaurus." When he saw all of this, Jaxosaurus felt so proud. He had found his roar and led the way for his school to shine.
And then, out of the forest came Senior Constable Cintosaurus, a stegosaurus with a special power to glow. Constable Cintosaurus drove with the other glowing dinosaurs in a roarmobile which was covered in flashing lights and had its own mighty roar. They drove towards the party with big smiles and special gifts. There was a Constable T-Bear, a folder for special memories, and a pledge to protect and serve Jaxosaurus in any way he needed. Jaxosaurus was also accepted as an honorary glowing dinosaur for the day. He went to sleep that night feeling strong and surrounded by friends, knowing there were great things to come.
And then the party ended and all the guests went home. A few moments later there was a knock at the door. It was their new neighbour, Samaraptor, coming to introduce herself. Samaraptor told them that she had heard the roar from over her fence and wanted to know where such an impressive sound was coming from. Jaxosaurus loved her immediately and gave her his biggest smile. The family became the best of friends. They shared fun and meals and school drop-offs, and they helped each other when someone was sick. After a few weeks, they took down the dividing fence and Jaxosaurus wrote a sign for their big yard that read, "All dinosaurs welcome here."
And then Jaxosaurus heard rumbling and raced outside. He saw the whole town had gathered on both sides of the road. They were wearing bright colours, waving flags and roaring with all of their might. As the rumbling grew louder, he saw dinosaurs on bikes appear over the horizon. Leading the group was Bangosaurus, protector of the dinosaur community. Bangosaurus stopped in front of him, looked him squarely in the eye and said, "Jump on." As they took off down the road, Jaxosaurus knew what this meant. He knew Bangosaurus would help keep him safe. He felt so proud.
And then there was another knock at the door. It was Asterix, a new teacher at Jaxosaurus' school. Asterix wanted to work with Jaxosaurus to help him build his confidence and strengthen his mighty roar. Asterix had been talking with Josephus about teaching the other students about dinoversity and asked if Jaxosaurus wanted to help. Jaxosaurus was bursting with happiness and said yes. The two prepared a special lesson called The Bold and the Dinosaur Beautiful, which showed how all dinosaurs are beautiful and have the right to roar. They delivered the lesson to all the other dinosaurs at school. After that, Jaxosaurus began to smile more, knowing that Team Jaxosaurus was growing.
And then there was a knock at the door, and it was their good friend Rachosaurus, bringing an exciting gift for Mamasaurus. The gift was a magic mirror. Whenever Mamasaurus looked in the mirror, Rachosaurus would appear in the reflection with a big smile, which made Mamasaurus very happy. Mamasaurus talked to the magic mirror about her hopes and her fears about keeping Jaxosaurus safe and making space for the rest of her family. Whenever Mamasaurus spoke to the mirror, Rachosaurus would give her a gentle hug and say, "You've got this." With all of the love in your heart, the experience in your life, and Papasaurus alongside you, your little dinosaurs will be totally okay.
And then, finally the guests had gone and Jaxosaurus and his family sat together and finished the rest of the birthday cake. As they ate the last crumbs, Jaxosaurus, Chiosaurus and Imisaurus announced to their parents that they were going to leave school to continue the fight for dinoversity. They wanted to protect the roar and help other dinosaurs understand how important it is to hear the roar.
The room suddenly became quiet. Mamasaurus and Papasaurus looked at each other and then at their children and said, "You don't need to give up school. We've got Team Jaxosaurus to help now. Bangosaurus is making sure the dinoverse community supports the roar. Senior Constable Syntosaurus and the glowing dinosaurs are here to protect and serve Jaxosaurus. Josephus and Asterix are making sure that school is a safe place for Jaxosaurus. And Diplodocus is talking to other politicians and community leaders about dinoversity. And don't forget, he is also planning the first ever dinosaur parade. Our friends Samaraptor and Rachosaurus love and support us as a family. Salosaurus Rex is still helping to strengthen Jaxosaurus's roar, and it is so wonderful for us to have her share her wisdom and experience."
Team Jaxosaurus are helping to make sure everyone understands. We don't have to do it all by ourselves anymore, and you don't need to give up school. You just have to love each other and support each other. You don't need to worry about having to change the world.
The children listened carefully to everything their parents said. They realized so much had changed. They felt warm and safe and hugged each other with joy. They ran outside to play, and very soon laughter and mighty roar were heard coming from the garden.
This has been the most awesome 12th birthday ever.